Hello friends, welcome. I'm Commissar Marek and today we are going to be making a video for C3 Augustus about advanced city planning. And today's topic is going to put together many pieces of information I shared with you from the other videos. And in conjunction, it's gonna result in us being able to get an overview of what's changed and how to approach city building in C3 Augustus from a more direct and straightforward way, because what I've noticed is that some people still kind of struggle to comprehend how to design their blocks or even where to put them, how to tailor them together, what is a supply hub. These sorts of things are important, and again, unless you have extensive experience, it's possible that you don't know what these things really are or how to make them work. So something to cover at first is that how did things work for all the time, like, you know, earlier Augustus build, Julius, Vanilla, these things. What would happen is you would find a map that you would want to play, and then on that map you would see, is there fertile land? If there's farming, you go there and your first block usually goes either very nearby entrance or near this fertile land, because you want to reduce travel distance for food, since in Julius and Vanilla and early Augustus builds, traveling food, like transporting food over distance was terrible idea, because it was highly inefficient. You would need, you know, 8 granaries or something to supply a block across the map without the farmland being close by, things like that. That's no longer the case, so already take this concept and that's no longer a priority. Keep in mind that, like, having farming nearby your housing or wharves nearby the housing is still good, so that you don't have to overuse depots, but you don't have to rely on it. It's not as rigid as it once was. What's more important today is, do you want to minimize costs? You will pay a little more workers for a couple of extra depots, but with advanced planning, what you can achieve is you can supply multiple blocks, around 4 usually tops, from a single supply hub, which is 1 granary, 1 warehouse, 1 gladiator school, 1 active school, and 3-4 blocks can supply themselves from the area without issues. With depots, of course, we are talking about depots. I'll explain numbers behind these things before we look at the map in question, because I want to also show you in practice, of course, because there are some numbers. Sam, by the way, Samuel RFHD did some testing for me, because all of this requires a lot of work, and Sam is a numbers guy, he likes numbers, so he helps me to get some of the information for these videos. I get my information from personal experience, some of it I get from Augustus mods, some of it I get from people on Haven or other materials made for Caesar and Augustus manual, and then from Sam as well, he helps me. Okay, so that's the sources. What we will do is, again, I'll show you when I'm gonna be talking about distance and things like that, how long approximately is 80 tiles, for example. I'll have to show you how visually it looks like, because it's hard to know, like, yeah, 80 tiles, but how does it look on the actual map, right? So we'll have to take a look at these sorts of things as we talk about them. So, as I mentioned, with the supply system or supply hub system, is that you basically want to not only set up your first granary and warehouses where farmland is, but you think ahead. You think about what is there on the map for future potential block sites, what's the best place to put one, because what we need to do, I'm gonna go into a map to show you. Okay, so here we are back. This is where I can show you the supply system at works. Actually, this map is the community challenge map, okay? This is the city I've started. And we've got a block here and a block here. Both of these source their food from here. When we give them pottery, a warehouse here or here would be ideal. And why do we do this? Well, again, travel distance can be a factor. I'll go into numbers for markets. This is quite far away, so they're not very efficient. That's why I have 1, 2, 3 of them. I might even have to have 4 eventually. But just the convenience factor of being able to do this is big. So that's why we have that. And so how do you make supply? When you set up your first granary, or the supply hub system, basically to outline it, I prefer to do it like this. Roadblock 1 tile away from the actual block itself. It takes a little bit of space on the outskirts, but this receives protection from fire and collapse from this side, from the block itself, and that means that it would be a situation where I don't have this here yet, so we would not be able to easily provide it. So if you want to save extra workers, just let it have protection from the block itself. The one thing you need to make sure of is that there is a road tile on the outside so that there's labor access. Of course, if you play without global labor pool, then you would have to bring this road out and touch this side of the block so that you tap this housing for labor access. When you do that, it kind of helps to, again, build up the supply hub where you want it, and then again plan for a warehouse spot, plan for some schools, so gladiator school, lion's pit, actors colony, and then all that. If it's on a single road layout, it will actually mean that people will go to where they need to go and get stuff. In this instance, when we get like insula level, moving this granary around here would actually be preferable, I think. Yeah, so it could be like this. So road goes through the middle of the granary, and that would mean that it's equidistant for both of the blocks. So that would actually be better. So might consider doing that. In any case, something to say, like, why wouldn't you want to add more granaries to this? Like, why not put a granary here, right? Well, it's because it's actually all this you do to prevent how market ladies can be hard to deal with. I'm sure you can find other words to describe them. I'm not gonna do that, but yeah, it's because of them. So what would happen is you would put another granary here, right? And with that in mind, these markets would suddenly run out of single resource they want to grab here, and they would go, oh, it's on the same road layout, I'm gonna go here instead, resulting in even more ping pong for delays in supply. If this is further, it would be even worse. So, just keep that in mind. Additionally, let's take a look at something a little bit obscure that a lot of people have been wondering about and consider black magic. How do market ladies choose what to get and when? All you need to know is you go here into your advisors, go into your economy advisor, go into prices. This basically is a list. What is their priority from left to right? So, if there is a block that eats wheat and vegetables, the market ladies will try to go for the wheat first. If it feeds vegetables and fruit, it would go for vegetables first, okay? And so this is the order of priority, and you see that some goods like oil are actually quite further away, same as wine. So they'll go for the wine like, it's the last thing. It makes sense, but it does go into the behavior a little bit. So it could help to explain why something like that is happening. But by itself, this information is not that useful. You need to apply it by, limiting where people can go. Because if you don't isolate your blocks or, supply hub networks, then of course people will still go across the city if they have an option. One granary is best for you can have up to 4 blocks stuck to a single one if you keep it stocked up. So why not use that? It's simpler, it simplifies the issues with market ladies and everything. It helps the city a lot. One thing that a lot of people do, and it's a problem, is that you connect your city. Like you would connect this, you would connect all your industrial areas, and this is awful. If you do that, even with here, if you connect, you would have warehouses here for weapons, you would connect the highway, then they would go there, and you will lose efficiency sometimes from these reasons if your city is all interconnected. So these timber yards would suddenly start delivering here, not good. It's why separation of your areas is actually very beneficial for you, as it always was. Isolated blocks, this block for example does have no way to access anything here, And that's important, because if they could, they would absolutely go for it. They would go here if we allowed them. That means that we want to limit options that walkers have to go to if you want to minimize pain and maximize gain. Okay, so that's why we want to do things like that. This block is actually not so good. You see the dead space in the middle here? This is not great, but due to the cliff here, just kind of end up being like this. It's okay. It could be worse. Like, it could be a 9x9, right? So something like this. In any case, what do I want to talk about? Yeah, so cart depots, they can be used to ferry supplies for, you know, across the map, and they are especially efficient in transporting food if you have the option enabled for granary carters carry double wheat, or sorry, double food. It's in the options, you can select it. You can watch my video on difficulty settings and hotkeys for Augustus, and I explain it there. But if you have that on, the oxes from the cart depot actually have double capacity as well. And so let's go over a couple of numbers for the logistics. One cart depot traveling 80 tiles to the source can pick up one load every 3 months, there and back. That is 24 units, 4 times a year, or a total of 96 units, which each of these units is 100 in the market or granary concept, because the food, one cartload is 100, split up, goods or food, okay, in markets and warehouses and granaries, or sorry, not warehouses, granaries and markets, split it into hundreds. So 96 units, 192 if you have double granary gathers enabled. That's the setting I talked about. So 192 total cartloads of food per single cart depot can be transported. This is either enough food for 1,600 or 3,200 population if you have that setting. Obviously, longer, shorter journeys take longer or shorter time. So it could be more or less efficient. How long is 80 tiles? Well, let's take a look at it, shall we? So let me just go into a different map. I'm gonna go with Valencia again. It's a good testing map. So 80 tiles. Let's see. It's 4 denarii per road. 56, 60, 80. This. If the cart depot is this long or shorter distance, a single one can transport enough food to feed 3,200 people if you have the setting for double getters. If not, it's 1,600 people. That's still a lot of people that you can feed with a single depot like that. It costs 15 workers, yes. There could be some future changes to them as well, so keep that in mind, but this is the state of unstable as of right now. Well, this is pretty good. You can basically place blocks whenever. So if I was to design something for this map, I would look at it and like, yeah, it's great that food is here, but more importantly, I would think, where will my industry go? What is the industry? Am I gonna do mining, and am I gonna do some pottery, or am I gonna do some timber, which I can do whenever there are a lot of trees? So, you know, things like that. And then I would think about my blocks and where would I put them up. And so there's a lot of fertile land, which is great, but if I was to put a granary for my main supply hub here, then obviously tapping it with more blocks would be a problem because it's kind of in the corner. So I'd actually say, instead of putting it here with a modern Augustus, put a granary here. This is your supply hub area, and a block, and potentially a block and a block somewhere along here, maybe L-shaped, something like that. And big, huge city supplied with a few cart depots from farmland here, and of course you would set this up as just accepting granaries in the farmland area in general, and then put, transport the stuff elsewhere. So we could take a look at something else as well. With this, let's take a look at the numbers. So for goods, with the same depot we talked about, so for goods this translates to 48 of the good or enough for 200 houses. So a single depot, if the destination and source are at maximum 80 tiles away, is going to be able to transport enough goods to supply up to 200 houses. Okay, each block can at peak efficiency block will have 4 to 5 houses in it, 2x2s, of course, because 1x1 houses and 2x2 houses consume the same amount of goods. If you didn't know that, that's why 1x1s are bad. And so you see that a single depot could supply 3.5 blocks without issues. Maybe actually even a little bit more. Like 4 blocks would be fine with this. If assuming the source, the warehouse for example pottery, would have enough pottery being put into it to constantly transport it, right? So yeah, this is great for goods as well as for food. Card depot revolutionizes logistics. Okay, that's why the supply hub system is so much better, so much more efficient. You save workers because you don't have to have as many granaries and warehouses. You save space because of that. You also have much more stability in your blocks because now all the question of I don't have enough is solved with make more, food or goods, and then the depot can easily get it where it needs to go as long as it's within reasonable, distance. Also, I mentioned this in my card depot video, but just in case you don't know that, put card depots near either source or destination. It doesn't matter really which, but they need to be close to either where they get from or where they put things to, and that's how you optimize them. If they are like in the distance somewhere, that's bad because they spawn, they go to their source, they pick up, then they go do the trip, deliver, and then they return back to their point of origin, okay, to the depot, and then they respawn, and then another one can spawn. At full employment, a card depot can spawn up to 3 oxes. So each ox has, I'm gonna try to find these numbers, I'm gonna put them on the screen if I find them. This is how much a single ox can carry, and as Sam mentioned, it is for 80 tiles away card depot. You can see a transport of 192 food or 48 goods per year. Okay, so that is significant. Again, you can, for the food, it can sustain up to 3,200 population with this setting, or you can use the goods to supply 200 up to 200 houses with goods of that type. Okay, something else. So you could, as mentioned before, we would have to mass granaries or mass warehouses. I might find some sort of picture of it. So we'd have like, you want to build a block in faraway place that has no access to close by food. Well, tough luck. I guess it's, 8 granaries for you. But what happened with that is the granaries also it's not logical. It doesn't go from A to B like card depot does. It just get, meaning that look at the city, whenever there is food that you're looking for, go there, grab it and come back. Which means that it was very heavily restricted in how much control the player has over how to manage logistics, how to deal with that, and so it was a mess. Now it's no longer a mess, and that is good. Giving player more control is good. Obviously some people will not like it and say, oh, it's so simple. Play however you like. If you don't like this, go ahead and play as it always was played. I'm not telling you how to play the game, but do the same and don't tell that to me, because this is future. This is good, and this is, less jank, which overall results in much more open, better game. As, again, I believe that Season 3 with Augustus mod is the best city builder on the market currently, and these features, such as the card depot, significantly contribute to the fact that it is much easier to play. And not just easier to play, but also like manage and wrap your head around. There is a difference between difficulty and jank. And card depot does, in a way, also reduce difficulty, at least a bit. No real arguments about that, but it severely decreases the jank factor, and that is very important. Same as Global Labor Pool. It is sort of cool idea, but in practice, playing without Global Labor Pool, but in practice the jank is not worth it. It's so much pain that if you play as that again, all the power to you, but I would not enforce it on other people because it is jank, undeniably so. Okay. Something else we need to talk about is market distribution. Okay, so again, markets and where you place them, it matters. So like this, as I mentioned, I have 3 markets. It feeds this block without issues, with the source being here. But the moment I add goods, or you know, there are more people living here, it might be a problem. And so market placement matters a lot, as I mentioned before. Let's go into some numbers from Sam again. So the distributive difference of near, mid and far markets. A result is a bunch of says, short version, what we know, market minimum distance, 2 tiles away, supported 30 to 44 or 45 small casa with food in 3 years test. Okay, so a single market, assuming it has 2 tiles to walk to get food, which, let's take a look at this. I'm gonna just take native risk overlay. So this is a market, it can spawn here, which I think it does. Let's click on it. No, it spawns right here. No, that's an exit point. Red is exit, green is entry. So it does spawn here. So yes, this market lady only needs to walk 1 tile, get the food, 1 tile, go back. Okay. So this market could effectively, if there's, assuming there's always enough food, which currently there isn't, assuming there's just, you know, constantly food being put into that granary, this market would be able to feed the whole peak efficiency block of up to 45 houses. Food, the market placement matters. The more further away it is from the source, the more impacted it is, okay? If it's double the tiles, meaning 4 tiles away, so that would be, for example, this market. See where it spawns. It spawns right here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So this is exactly the case. Its efficiency is reduced by 7%. So it's still good. It's still very, very good. So, you know, having even market like here-ish is okay. But the moment you put them on like the opposite side, like here, their efficiency will drop off significantly in like tens of percentages. Okay. So let's take a look at the concrete numbers. We've got 50% less if it's on the other side of the block, so like here. That would only be able to supply, you know, 20-ish houses, 25 maybe, at, you know, if you're lucky. So that's still okay, but it's not as good as putting your markets near the supply hub. As with other blocks, if it has to be far away due to terrain like this, it's fine. You can just put multiple and it works. So like this block is gonna be slightly less efficient. Yes, I will be able to put slightly less houses in it. Yes, but it's super worth it for the benefit of not having to split up my supply network. Also, you can just take a look at this granary, and this is basically if this block was made in such a way that it sources from here. Let's say you make the city all source from 1. All you need to do to see is there enough food in the city is look at this one granary. If there are oxes stacked up and you see that it's full, it's full. If there are goods in the warehouse, it's okay. Consumption is under control, right? If it's empty like this, or if there's lacking goods, you see at a glance. No need to go into your tabs and advisors and figure stuff out. No need to look all over the map for small little things. You look at one place. I have enough. Put another depot, make another farm area. Like this here is, for example, you know, growing food and then putting, I have 2 supply hubs in this case. So one of the depots is putting it here, the other one is putting it in here. And that's how we feed these blocks. And so we need more food, okay. Let's take a look at the map, find another patch, make a little bit of extra farms, and cart it over. You know, if it's 1, it's very simple to see if you're lacking something, right? So with that out of the way, I think we talked about basically everything regarding the advanced city planning. I hope that you learned something. I might take a look with you at some maps we might have. I have a lot of older saves, but yeah, we should take a look and see if we can find something worthwhile showing. This is so when I played Turgon City, Olbia, so we've got very efficient blocks, and you see these 2, this is a supply hub, okay? So supply hub consists of a granary, consists of a warehouse, and it feeds blocks, multiple of them, not just 1. and that's how it looks like. And you see it's completely stacked with fish, so no issues there. Also, it supplies 3 blocks. This block is also entirely sourced from this supply hub. It is a bit further away though, you see the distance. So we have 1, 2, 3 markets, and it keeps it stable, and it's a very efficient big block. So, you know, a couple of extra markets, all we really need. This block is slightly unstable at the moment, but it has only access to this. Notice how this is not connected. There's no road light connection. If you had a road connection between these blocks, this would collapse, because people from this market would go, oh, I want to go get something from here or here. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. So again, separating your networks is like, think about it like you've got your supply hub, and then it's enclosed supply network, and then you cut that off and then make another, and then, you know, keep it separate. And if you need to transport stuff between them, use depots to do that. Don't actually allow roads. Interconnecting your city has always been a nightmare, by the way. Even in Julius it was a nightmare, because it results in people from here, like this clay pit could potentially, if your city is connected, it could, and it would send you know, a carter to a workshop like here. It would do that. So yeah, don't allow people to have options, because they do pretty stupid things if you do that. So enclosed systems is better than you know, interconnected sprawling city. But it doesn't need to be ugly. You can, if you care about looks a lot, you can still make it so it blends together. Just, you know, don't even use gardens on that path, because they will use the gardens, and also at the same time you need physical access so that carters can go through, and other walkers that can go through can still do it. But yeah, that's basically the idea. So again, if you have any questions regarding the supply hub or advanced city planning, let me know. I hope this made you so that you learned something, and thank you for watching, and see you around. Bye.